Hi everyone, Sean back from the Sci-Fi Model Guy, and welcome to finally the final chapter of the Jupiter 2. Now this has been sitting in here in the garage for about a year and a half, maybe even more, but I'm happy to report that I finally got the opportunity to hand this over to Antiderivative Jill, and it will be in her hands in a couple of days thanks to Canadian Spider-Man. Both channels you should check out. I will put links in the description below. Canadian Spider-Man has some really great streams on travel. He's gone all over the world, and it's really fun to see the pictures he's taken, and the stories he tells is just very fascinating. And I've had a chance to be on the panel with him and talk to him about those travels, and it's a lot of fun. Antiderivative Jill has a really cool science fiction channel. She talks about Lost in Space, Star Trek, pop culture. She plays some games and stuff, and it's a lot of fun, so go check out her channel as well. So just a little bit of a backstory. So for those of you who are kind of new to the channel, or maybe you've forgotten because it's been so long since I've put the video out, originally this build was supposed to be for a gentleman named Pop Culture Curator. He has a channel that's still active. Unfortunately, Pop passed away quite a while ago, and I just didn't have enough time to complete the model and get it over to him. He lived half a country away, and unfortunately, I just didn't have the chance to give it to him, which was really disheartening and sad. But the good news was, he saw pictures of it, almost all completed, about how you saw in the last chapter, basically what you're going to see here in this video. He did see the pictures. He knew what it did. He was very grateful and thankful that I was building it. But unfortunately, his life was just cut too short for me to have a chance to get it to him. But in my last conversation with him, about a week or so before he passed, he asked that I give this to Jill because she is a very big Lost in Space fan. So to keep our word, we're getting it to Jill, albeit a little late and delayed, but hopefully nonetheless she will enjoy this build and be able to remember Pop whenever she looks at this. It was a fun build. The first diorama I've ever made. It was I was pretty green when I did this thing, and so anyway, I'm happy to give it to her and get it to its home. It's a better place than sitting here in the garage. Now, as to the apology part of the title, hopefully you saw that on the title. Now, I was still very new to YouTube and everything, and when the channel got monetized, I didn't know what I was doing really, and so every time I'd upload a video, I would just use YouTube's recommended ads, and then I went through and actually looked in the video, in all the videos about a week ago, and I saw that there's like a gajillion ads in these videos. So I want to extend my apologies to you guys for so many. I didn't know that there were that many ads in these things. So I have gone through and scrubbed all of the videos on the channel, and I have no more than 3. Almost all of them have only 2 ad breaks, and I just try to put them, about a third of the way through, so you will only see 2 ad breaks. So please, I hope you can accept my apologies. I don't make very much money on this channel. It's extremely small. It's maybe a couple of dollars a month actually, but that's fine. I mean, I would love for the hobby to pay for itself through here, but that's not why I do the channel. I do it because it's fun and I like sharing the hobby. I want this hobby to grow. I want it to stay alive, if not grow. And so that's the purpose of this channel, is to pass on little things I've learned, get hints and tips from you, and see your photos of the models you've done. I've had a bunch of people send me stuff, and so if you do have stuff out there, please send it to me, and we'll get that. Now, as for the channel content, the frequency of the videos, I do apologize. I know it's been like 3 weeks since I've posted anything, and the traffic on the channel's gone down as a result of that. Unfortunately, there's nothing I could do about it. I got a really cute puppy a couple of months ago, and I'll put a picture up here. That's Rudy, and he's 3 months old now, and he's a handful. And so I work from home during the day during my normal life job, and so I'm all by myself here now. So anyone who has a puppy, especially an Australian Shepherd with a lot of energy, you'll know that they take constant watching over to make sure he doesn't go mess in the house and to get him trained and everything. But he's finally kind of getting there to where in the daytime I could probably sneak out here and do some work. And that's when I would do a lot of the work, is I'd take a break from my work or my lunch hour to come out here and get 20 minutes of work in, maybe a half an hour if I'm on a lunch break, and you can really get a lot done. And aside from that, I do have a second night job to bring in a little bit of extra money, and so with the puppy all day and then 2 jobs and everything going on, is just I couldn't record enough content to get a video up. I know I owe you guys the final on the little enterprise model kit. That one's almost done. I got some touch up to do, and I have to build a base for this thing, and that's really the thing that's been taking me a long time, because I need several hours to build that. Anyway, I've drolled on so long, but hopefully if you're still with me here, you can watch the finale here, the Jupiter 2. Again, I'm very happy to give this over to Jill, and I do hope you all can forgive me for the ads. I promise you it's going to smooth sailing from now on, no more than 2 per video, and hopefully that will hold on to some of you guys and ease some annoyance. So I am sorry. So anyway, guys, I'm going to cut this one off. I've blabbed on for so long, but I wanted to give you the update and give you that story about Pop, and to just share his memory and everything. And I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing well, and everything's really good. I've been spending a lot of time out here in the night. I've got a lot of work done. Just a real quick, here is the USS Voyager. That's the next build. It's going really well, and that's going to be a really nice ship. And this one's going to be special. All right, guys, that's it. Enjoy this video. Hit that like and subscribe button. Send me emails, the sci-fi model guy at gmail.com. Send me pictures of your stuff. We will be picking up the sci-fi workshop again at some point soon. I'm really anxious to get back to that and have some more guests on and just talk shop. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. Take care, and we will see you down the road. Hey everyone, okay, so here we are back with the Jupiter 2, and we've got it in a peculiar position. First thing to point out here is we do have some scuff marks here, and that is just some sanding that we had to do to get some glue drops that happened. So just had to sand those off, and we'll just paint them right over. But the reason the ship is like this right now is just to illustrate a few of the things that we've done and where they are. So hidden right under here, under this landing leg, is the main power switch for the model. Up here is where we place the female plug for the 9-volt power supply. And right here is the little, I forget what you call this, but it's the dialable, for the light frequency, which is the landing lights here that rotate. This controls the speed for that. So just wanted to kind of point out here what it looks like underneath, because we're not going to have really a chance to look at it from this angle again. Okay, so let's take it not under, but we'll take it down. And here we go. So let's find here the front of the ship is right over here. Okay, so there's the front of the ship, and it's got the little window bay there, and this is what she looks like. So over here is just where we put the wires through. We just drilled that with a Dremel tool, and here is some CA glue. It looks really ugly and chunky, but that's okay. No one's ever going to see this unless they break it open, which we will talk about later. So yeah, this is just the power switch. Now this power switch came with the rotating lights with the ship, so I didn't have to put a new one on there. Now over here is just a bunch of electrical tape that we put down, and this only is serving as a light block, so that's just going to lay there flat. It shouldn't peel away or do anything later in the future. It's just there to kind of keep the lights contained within there. Even if they came off, though, I don't think there would be any flashing lights coming through the whole floor, because it really covers the entire thing. But we have the black mask here, and it should be perfectly fine. Now, this is just to kind of block some of the flashing. Now, over here, you're going to see here these rainbow colored wires there. These used to lead to the top dome. There was like a little flashy dome on the top here that rotated and flashed. I made the decision, I think as many other people have done too, is just eliminate that, because it made it almost impossible to remove the saucer to look at the interior of the ship. And the interior of the ship is so interesting. Some people might want to remove this. So I want to allow Pop, who pop culture curator, obviously we've talked about him, who's the recipient of this model, might want to look at the interior of the ship. And if we would have kept this on there, it really would have made that difficult and possibly broken it or just ruined some things. So out of practicality, I've cut that off, and I didn't want to make the wires too long. It would have been really messy, so we just cut it off, cut that feature out. Right here, of course, is the plug for the power supply, and let's see over here. Where are we? There's the on switch. There's the power supply. Oh, right over here is the dial for the speed of the lights. Now there are 3 wires on there. I'm not sure what they are. One's ground, one's power, one's probably the frequency, and that goes all the way over here to this section here. And underneath, I think there's the circuit board. I don't want to peel it off, but it all leads into here. And so that is the interior of the ship. Now, all that's connected. We've got the power switch on there to serve as the interrupt so that it works. And then here is the positive and negative wire leading outside of the ship. And that's just so that we can wire up the main part of the ship when we get to it. Right here, so we've got all of the wires. And then here is just a positive and negative that leads out of the ship so that we can wire up the positive and negative for the floor, which we're going to show in just a second here. So I'm going to put the phone down. We're going to stop the recording, and we'll come right back and take a look at the ship more of in an assembled state. Be right back. Hey everyone. Okay, so just wanted to show the mess of the bird's nest underneath the Jupiter 2 for the wiring system. This is, it looks horrible, but it's all secure and everything's really good. Now, I am not known for having really nice, perfect wiring in these kits, but I can tell you that everything is secure. It's not crossed. There's no exposed wires in here. And all of this tape here that you see is secured down with some CA glue. As you can see here, there's all these dabs of CA glue that I did. So the reason behind all this is because it's such a mess that you have to use tape to kind of hold these things down, and you don't want those pieces of tape coming off later on in the model's life. So you just glue them down. They're not going to go anywhere. I just slapped a lot of CA glue, hit it with the Instaset stuff, and away we go. So again, this is going to be underneath. It's not going to be seen by everyone. Could I have done a better job at this? 1000% yes. Did I want to? No. I didn't see a need. It's, this isn't, exacting science. Yes, of course, I do like to lay things down neatly and orderly when possible. And yes, it was possible here, but it wasn't necessary. These wires didn't need to be laid down to show any light or anything like that. Like, for instance, here's a good example. So we did make sure that there were no wires or tape covering here. And these are the freezing pods right here that you see. So there's a little 0805 SMD warm white right there on each of these. So we just made sure that there's no wires kind of coming across here to block that light from coming through. Otherwise, other than that, I really don't care what this looks like because it's secure, it's fine, it's doing its job. Oh, I do need to put a little electrical tape here. So there's a little wire I had to splice one in there. One of these guys failed on me, so I had to replace it. So I had to kind of cut it in to the wire there. But yeah, everything's got the either a little bit of electrical tape or the shrink tubing on there to keep these pieces from contacting. So that is just a look at underneath. I know some other builds have done this just exquisitely, just laying it out all perfectly. That I would have done that had I had more motors and more blinking lights and things going on. But this kit is just straight 0805s on it pretty much, with one exception, which is the I think it's the translation board it's called, and I'll show that here in a second when we flip it over. But just wanted to show it here. Yeah, it's not clean, it's not pretty, but no one's ever going to see this. So you know, you'd make the call on your own kits how you want to do it. If you want to lay it down absolutely nice, you know, if that's really important to you, absolutely, it's perfectly fine to do that. For me, it was just, I wanted to get this done. So you got a lot of tape here, but again, it's never going to be seen again after I put this thing together, unless someone just breaks it apart. But hopefully that won't ever happen. So anyway, all right, on to the next section. We're going to turn this thing around and show what it looks like from the top view. Stand by. Well, everybody, we're all done. The kit has been assembled. Everything is in place, and I'm extremely happy. There are some things in here that didn't come out quite as I had expected. For most specifically with the light levels on some of these consoles and things, but that's an extremely minor thing for me. This is got to be the most detailed model that I've ever completed. I'm really not that into hand brushing things, but I think this turned out okay. Now, full admission here, everybody, there are many other much better builds of this kit than what I've done here. There are just some extraordinary builds out there, for instance, that have the pulsating lights that go up here, like in the show, like these pillars here had lights like pulsing going up there. There's people that have managed to do that with special circuit boards. There are people that have lit these things. People have put little motors on these tapes that spin. I mean, total immersion, some of the kits that have been done. I did not go that far. You know, for instance, I didn't use fiber optic lights like so many people have done on all the individual consoles. For instance, we're going to go down here, like these little lights here next to there are people that have put individual, you know, fiber optic cable in their lights, 8 of them, like for this one, you know, 4 or 5 more for these. I mean, just absolute detail. I just didn't have that kind of expertise nor the time to do it that much. So I encourage everybody to go and look throughout YouTube for other builds of this kit. You're going to see some amazing things. But, you know, if you're someone that has, you know, limited skill, kind of like me, and limited time, I think this one turned out pretty good. Now, I've got a little bit of a weird thing going with the elevator that I couldn't figure out. So that's just one of those things I kind of had to let go. It's just a little wonky, but it could be just the kit. Now here are all the freezing tubes, which now these I'm really happy with. I'm glad I went and put the 0805 SMDs underneath. Now these are warm white SMDs. They look white. They're actually warm. Some of them are coming out a little bit different. Actually, you know what? These might have turned out to be white, and that one is warm. So a little mistake on my part. I'm just catching that now. The package I had must have been mislabeled. Minor change. I can't really fix it now. As you saw on the previous video where we had already taped down all these lights underneath in the wires, so that I can't really go back at this point. So now here's now this is the Professor Smith right here. Now he's not glued in there, and neither is the robot. So those I'm going to leave up to Pop to place where he wants. Maybe he just wants them on his desk or something. But I just kind of leaned them in here just to kind of show some cool stuff. Now, I'm going to pause the video here, and I'm going to change the camera around and put it kind of down in the ship so we can see a little bit more detail, kind of like as if we were inside. So stand by 1 second, everyone, and I'll get the camera oriented there. Okay, everyone, I'm going to try to navigate around here. As we're down here into the ship. Now here's the astrogator, and I don't know how good this is going to work out, but we're going to try. There's Dr. Smith and the robot, of course. Now here, I believe this thing with the yellow and red that's really blazing through on the camera, but in real life it's not so bright. I think that's like the translator or something. There were like a bunch of symbols. There's a big decal on there with symbols on it. Now there's, of course, is the Cyclops. Let's see if we can move this around. Sorry, Dr. Smith, we're going to have to move you here. So yeah, there's the Cyclops. It's not really focusing right here. There we go, a little bit. So there are some lights going on back there, like those little blue lights that you see, and some of this console. You know, you can see all the little detail painting. So it was pretty tough for me. I don't have that steady of a hand. So here we go into the cockpit. Now this turned out really nice. We did put some lights in here in these little top parts in these consoles, and of course some lights down here. Now these lights, where are we going? Where are we? There we are. These lights back here are strip lighting, the LED strip, 3 each for each of these, and then some 0805s in here that we built a light box behind there to contain the light. Now there was one little bit of a mishap here. You can't really see it here. So you see that little triangle there. This thing is like an overlay that popped off when I was putting it in there. It's supposed to go behind there, but I had already glued this whole console down. So, and I noticed it had fallen out. So I grabbed it and just had to jury it up on there. But you don't really notice it unless you're looking for it. All right, let's cruise around here. Now there's one of the doors. Now this is surprising here, this little hallway. I've seen other people build, you know, they fabricated a wall back here to kind of enclose it. That would have been a lot of work that I opted out of. Here's a nice door. Now when you really zoom in here, you can see the brush strokes and stuff, but from the naked eye, you know, far away, you don't really see it. There's that translator. Now here's another thing where I probably should have put some lights in here to illuminate this, but you know, in my head I'm thinking, well, there's no general alarm. That was kind of like their red alert right here, and it's not illuminated. And we do have some lights right here that are behind there that are illuminated. Now here's like the little computer thing. I forget what this is called. Again, other builds have motorized this and really made a lot of blinking lights. Again, here people have put some lights behind this console with fiber optic, which I wanted to do. Again, I mean, it was just too arduous for me to do it. So I'm gonna move the ship here. So I'm gonna just do a quick edit. Okay, just had to rotate the ship a little bit. Okay, now here's the elevator there. Again, right there, I've seen people have put actual fiber optics in that console too and lit them up with various colors with a light down there underneath. And here we are to the freezing tubes. Now these I'm pretty proud of. Again, I could not 100% detailed, but they're pretty close. You know, it was fun to paint these little guys and get their details on the uniforms and the skin color and the hair color and everything. One of the things I'll call out, another little mistake I made right here, there's these little bulby things, like there's 2 bulby things there with that silver. Those I should have painted gold or a brass when I was looking at the set pictures. I just missed that. So going over here, we're completing. Now I'm not sure if the order of the family and Don are correct here. We'll start from the left. I'll go back here. So there's Mrs. Robinson, Professor Robinson. Then there's Dawn, and oh goodness gracious, the older sister. Her name's escaping my brain. Then we have Will. No, I'm sorry. That's Penny. And then Will's over here. I think that's what. Yeah. Kind of hard to see. I'm craning my neck here to get in here to show everybody. So yeah. so that's that. I'm going to reorient this, and we're going to do another quick edit real quick. Okay, here we are. Now all I did was place this little disc on here. This thing is white usually, and I've seen builds where people don't paint it, but it just looked a little weird being completely white, so I just gave it a shot of silver. It's not a perfect coat, but it's enough to just kind of give it a nice cover, and then you look down. So I'll be gluing this in there, and that will be it. So when Pop gets this, you're gonna have to take the lid off, or the dome off, to look in here. But you can still kind of get a camera in there, and you can look and see some things. And I think this little top actually kind of puts a nice cap on it. Let's see. Okay, a little bit more details. Now this is where the Cyclops monster is, and just some of the lighting. I might go ahead and just put like a black piece of styrene there, just to block that light off here. And then going back here, now this is for that little translator device thing with those red and orange lights. This is just a strip of 3 LEDs. Sorry, it's warm white. And then I just cut a little flimsy piece of styrene here from some scrap, and just glued that on there just to diffuse the light, because without it, you saw the three main lights there like that. So anyway, I've got that just bent like that. It's just sticking up on its own, and it's glued down here. So, and then over here you can see, I was very liberal with my application of CA glue here. I wasn't really concerned about having it look nice. I wanted this to be secure, because I'll tell you folks, when you build this kit, these walls here that you have to put in sections all the way around, the directions are extremely, I would say, complicated. Is a kind term. It's easy to understand, but you have to really look at it and read it several times. It's not it's all kind of spelled out in one paragraph here. And I'll do a quick edit real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so for instance here, this is just one page. So the actual assembly of all the little sub-assemblies that we did. All of the, the individual wall units, the freezer units, the astrogator, this console, everything. All these are individual assemblies, mini assemblies. And it's all donated, not donated, it's all notated here in like 3 paragraphs. And it just, if you want to take a look here on the screen, it's like I said, it's not impossible, but you really have to read through it, and there's a lot of references. So I ended up like checking off things that I had already done, because you're going back and forth. Not blaming them at all. I mean, it was not like I didn't have the ability to understand it, but just when you do build it, be prepared to be a little confused for a while. It's going to take you a couple of hours to put these things all together. So the other thing that was a little weird is that you have to place all these things here individually without cementing them in. So you kind of place them in there, and then you put this guy on top to make sure it's all lined up, and then you cement them in. And what I found was where these little walls here, where these walls meet these doors, or where these things come together, there's seam work in here. So they kind of interlock, which is nice, but it's really hard to cement them into place when you're, it's easier to cement them into place without assembling them. So like if I did little sections of wall here and there and then glued it. So that might even be possible. I'd have to see some other builds and what other people have done. But it wasn't easy following the directions as indicated in the directions. And as far as, completing the cementing, they kind of show you, here's how you place them in. You line them up, you get that look, but they don't give you any hints on actually the cement work. Anyway, babbling on. So here's some more sloppy CA glue application. Again, this is going to have to travel across the country. So if I was just doing this for home display, everybody, I would have done a much neater job and a lighter job gluing these, because it wouldn't be like I'd be moving this model around. But this is going to be making a trek across the country pretty much. So I had to be a little bit loose with the application of glue to make sure nothing shakes apart. And even so, in here, some of these things may come a little bit loose. So anyway, yeah. All right. Now we've already talked about the control or the power switches and everything. So right here, I've got it turned up. I think this is full speed. Let's see here. No, I don't, it's on the other side. I can't change it around. Let's see if we can't grab it here. Okay, another quick edit there. So here we are. Yes, it was full speed. So here's the low speeds, the absolute lowest, and then we'll turn it up. And there's maximum right there. Really cool effect. I really like this. I'm wondering what speed pop culture curator is going to pick. Okay, and then now all of the feet here. There was a little bit of a thing I had where I had to reassemble one of these legs. It kind of broke. So if you were to really look into the details here, these landing struts, there's a little bit of a mistake on there. But all in all, everyone, I'm pretty happy. Oh, so here's a little thing. So this is just a little piece of styrene here. This black right here did not come with the kit. I cut that, as you can see. It's not perfect. I just did that to kind of block some of the light when the dome is removed. That's why I think I'm going to just do the same thing here. Just plop it in there and just glue it haphazardly and just to, you know, keep from seeing the guts of it like that. Just enough to kind of hide it. But that's it, everyone. The cockpit looks really cool when looking in through here, and here you can see these light boxes that I built there, and you can kind of see through them a little bit, but they do the job of keeping the lights in there. Oh wait, no way. I think these were already built. I just painted them black, but you can kind of see some of the light leaking through. But that's okay, and I didn't have to go perfect. Here's some more, you know, glue that you can see just on the rear side, and you can see some of the wire work that just is kind of stuffed in there. You know, again, as I've said, I am not the neatest when it comes to wiring. There are some people that just do exquisite work that looks like a robot did it. And although I'm extremely impressed and all that over those things, I'm not sure if I would if I have the patience to do that. When I get to the wiring part and putting it away, I'm like, I just want to get the project done. As I go forward and get better, it'll improve. It'll look nicer. And of course, you know, like when we do ships like the Enterprise, that has to be tacked down pretty nicely. So anyway, but yeah, and you can see some of the tape in there just holding these things together. I mean, there's no loose connections. There's no exposed wires in there. It's all safe. It's just a little messy. All right, everyone. So that's the tour. I'm going to go ahead and lock this down here with just some cement. And not the CA glue. CA glue kind of looks a little ugly. I'm just going to plop some model cement in there. And there's enough contact points in here where that should be secure just fine. And if it pops loose in shipping, you know, we can just pop in a little bit more glue in there and re-secure it. Other than that, let's see, the hardest parts for me, obviously, well, not obviously, but for me, it was actually these freezing tubes were presented a bit of a challenge. And then getting those little, these little guys back here, I should have painted them correctly and then put those in before the freezing tubes. I was a little bit backwards on some things, so I should have just pre-assembled that. But again, it's difficult with the walls there. Ended up having, actually, I cut there's a little insert hole in the wall, I'm sorry, in the floor, and these guys have a little nub that goes in. I ended up cutting those off because I just couldn't line them up, and I just glued them pretty solidly. All right, well, yeah, so there it is, everybody. The Jupiter 2, I will be completing the painting of the dome part, and I'll get, you know, in the next day or two, and then I will add to this video here, and then we'll just take one final look of how she looks with the dome on, and then I will pack it up and then get ready to take it out to a pop culture curator. So, all right, everyone, stand by. Well, everyone, here she is, the Jupiter 2, all complete with the magnets on the diorama here. This is a 2-foot by 2-foot square that put a bunch of Mod Podge in there and some fake bushes and some rocks from my front yard. And I think it looks pretty cool. So now you will see here that there's a little magnet right there that I put in. I didn't get that perfect, but you can kind of push it together and it will basically hold. I didn't want to make this so that it latched really tight because the cool details are on the inside. And I do have a feeling that the Jill's probably going to want to open it up and look at it and hopefully maybe show it off a little bit. But yeah, so here it is. It's all done. I know it's been like a year and a half and I never finished this thing, even though the second video in the series did pretty well for the channel. So I'm hoping everyone really likes this. It was a lot of fun to build, very difficult to do, but the details on it are really nice. It's a really good model. And if you're into Lost in Space and you've got a lot of patience and stuff, it's really well worth it. Now, I will say this. I am by far one of the least accomplished as far as doing this model. Like I said, I started it a long time ago. My skills have increased, but I am very proud, and we will get to the inside here to catch you up and let you see what it looks like. But that said, there are some extraordinary builds of this model. So if you are into Lost in Space or if you find this particularly interesting, please do go check out the other builds of this. There's some really, really good ones with fiber optics and all kinds of crazy stuff. But let's go ahead and fire it up. So I've got the switch down here and we've got this nice rotating light there. That was an LED set that I bought, and it was not inexpensive, but it's very cool. It's got a resistometer or something like that, whatever it is, to control the frequency of the rotating light. And I'll go ahead and adjust that now. We'll do a quick edit so you can see a little bit slower version of it. So here are the lights rotating a little bit more slowly. As you can see, it kind of has a strobe light effect. I'm not too keen on the really slow version of it, but I do like that you have the option to do it. And let me see. And here it is at its slowest mode. As you can see here, there is this gap here that you can see underneath. But when you're looking at it head on, you don't really notice it. And you can kind of still push it together a little bit. And those magnets grab a little bit better. Again, it's not a perfect job on it, but it's the best I can do for now. Let's turn it back up. I did kind of do a design flaw. I put the little knob there in the way in the back of the ship. I think because I just didn't want it showing in the front. So my guess is that Jill is probably going to want to leave it like this with the faster rotation. At least I'm assuming so. So and if it were me, I would have preferred it in the back just so it's kind of out of sight. You know, it is a bit of a pain to reach around and turn it, but I do have it on a cake spinner here so I can rotate it for you. So let me hit a quick edit here and we'll show you the front. Well, after this, so I'm just going to show you so you can look in the window here and you can see there are the instruments there. The back panels are still they're a little weird. They didn't cover up. Maybe I can paint that up real quick before I get it to Jill. But you can see in there's the freezing tubes, some cool controls that we lit up here with some really neat decals that came with the ship, and very few decals on it, as you can see. You know, if you're familiar with the show. Anyway, that's kind of it. There's not really much else to show, and hopefully you've enjoyed this. And for those of you who had seen the first two chapters of this build and have been waiting for eons for me to finish it, I hope you can forgive me on the delay here. But I finally have an opportunity to get this over to Jill in a few days here, and so I figured I better record this final chapter here before I give it to her. And I finally got around to doing the magnets. And speaking of that, I'll just show you real quick. It's just a couple of these I picked up at Hobby Lobby. They're pretty strong. So I glued one on the bottom there with CA glue and just stacked a couple there just high enough until they grabbed. I might even throw a couple more on there just so it grabs a little bit more easily. So there's just 2 sets of magnets, one there and one, we're going the wrong way there. Yeah, one there and one there at the front of the ship. So these were just the 2 areas that the saucer top was kind of popping off there. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just put a couple more right here. The magnets hold on to them just fine, and that should take care of holding it together enough to at least so you don't see a giant gap in here. But anyway, folks, I really do appreciate your patience, and hopefully you enjoyed this, and we got a lot more stuff going on. I got some more things building over there. I got the Voyager, and I've got an Enterprise that I'm working on. It's just been a tough few weeks here with me, as you heard in the intro. Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hit that like and subscribe, and we will see you down the road. Take care.